Hey everybody, this is Tim with Op-Ed Daily. Now back in 1949, I do believe, George Orwell wrote a book called 1984. I'm sure most all of you have heard that book referenced at some point or another in your life. And the book is very important to our society because so many years ago, 60, almost 70 years ago, George Orwell basically predicted exactly what's going on today. And in this book was a government agency called the Ministry of Truth. And what the Ministry of Truth would do is it would go back to old newspaper articles and it would delete them. It would burn them. It would find every trace of that newspaper article, whatever it was, whatever topic it was, and they would get rid of it. So essentially they were rewriting history. If they didn't like the newspaper article, didn't matter how old it was in the book, they would get rid of it. There was a little door that they would shove these papers down, and then it would, they don't know where it went from there, but it was gone. That's all they knew. And that's what the Ministry of Truth did, because the government wanted the people to believe what it wanted them to believe. So today we do have the Ministry of Truth running around, and it's not our government necessarily, but instead Google. Google has come up with what they call the knowledge vault, and it is nothing more than the Ministry of Truth. Google is literally going through all of the websites that can be found on the internet, and it is not showing you the things that it doesn't want you to see. I did a little experiment after I read about the knowledge vault. And, well, before I get into the experiment, I'll explain what they're doing with that. Google is now going to determine for itself what is true and what is false. They will be the arbiters of fact or fiction. Even if there is controversy, or if there are differing opinions and even differing scientific evidence, Google will use its own agenda to determine what it believes is true or false, and that's the information that you will be given. Nothing more and nothing less. That's why I call them the Ministry of Truth, because they are only going to show you what they want you to see. So I did a little experiment. I went on Google and I typed in anti-vaccine. Now, the reason I chose anti-vaccine is that Google hasn't completely rolled out their knowledge vault just yet. But they have done it with the medical establishment. So medicine, that sort of thing. The Google Vault is up and running, not completely, but it is out there. And apparently it's working with anti-vaccine, the phrase anti-vaccine. So I type in anti-vaccine, and I am confronted with website after website of pro-vaccination websites. Hell, the first two websites were about a person that had previously been against vaccination. So I was duped by the anti-vaccination movement was the second link. And the first link was, I used to be an anti-vaxxer, but now I'm not. And then you get on down, like the fourth or fifth one was antivaccinebodycount.com or something like that. Now, what that website is dedicated to is to showing how many people have died because you and I or whoever else haven't vaccinated their children. They're literally trying to tabulate how many people have died across the world because people aren't vaccinating their children. Now, if that strikes you as odd, then good. That means you're not as, idiotic as some, especially the person that designed that website. It would be entirely, not necessarily entirely, but it would be almost impossible to assume that one person died of a fever because he got it from somebody that wasn't vaccinated. And let's think about that for a moment. If you do vaccinate your child, yet your child gets sick, what does that say about the vaccination? It doesn't work. Oh, and they make the argument, oh, well, it's a group thing. You have to have everybody vaccinated before it's actually going to work. Because if you have like 10 or 15% of the population that isn't vaccinated, oh my goodness, it's going to wipe everybody out. Now, I don't believe that. If the vaccination worked, it would work. You're not going to get sick. Or if you do get sick, you're not going to die from it. And I'd also like to point out that many of the things that we vaccinate for are curable. They're only vaccinating against the chance of you dying, because a lot of it we can deal with. We can deal with the symptoms, and we can prevent death from those things. Of course, when you deal with that illness, it's going to be one hell of a ride, obviously. So there's a lot of things that go to this anti-vaccination movement, but now if you go to Google and you type in anti-vaccine, all you find are websites dedicated to pro-vaccination argument. It was literally just filled with it. It blew my mind, and that's what prompted me to make this video, because it is horrible. It's just a horrible thing to realize that that book I read so many years ago has come to pass in so many ways. And if you haven't read 1984 yet, please go out and borrow the book. Check it out from your local library. Go buy the book. Do whatever you need to, but read that book. It is extremely good. It's kind of a weird book, but it's very good if you are wanting to, learn something, because George Orwell nailed it, 1949. Because today, the only thing I believe from that book that we're missing are the mechanical dogs that seek people out whenever they are thinking the wrong thing. That's about the only thing, but I believe they probably are already working on mechanical dogs that will chase you down. It wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, if you come across any kind of a crazy Google search that resulted in some weird search results, please let us know. Put it in the comments section. If you like this information, please hit the subscribe button and let everybody know. And once again, folks, this is Tim with Op-Ed Daily. Peace out.